Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into a topic that's everywhere these days, sustainable business model innovation.
SBMI.
SBMI, yeah, exactly. We're going to be looking at how companies can actually use environmental and societal challenges as opportunities.
Yeah, for profit and growth.
Exactly. And to guide us on this deep dive,
hmm
we've got this really interesting academic paper that maps out a four-step innovation cycle.
It's really fascinating because we're seeing this major shift, right? Sustainability, it's not just an afterthought anymore.
Yeah.
It's becoming like this core driver of business success.
Absolutely. I'm seeing it too. Like everywhere you look, companies are making these big climate commitments. Investors are demanding ESG plans. We've got groups like the World Economic Forum. They're pushing
Yeah.
for more inclusive capitalism. But what does all this actually mean for businesses, on the ground?
It's a whole new game. The companies that are going to succeed, the
Yeah.
ones that are going to thrive, they're the ones that can look at these global challenges
Hmm.
and see them as opportunities for innovation. They get it. They see that the biggest chances for making a profit are actually hidden within these challenges.
So it's not just about doing good. It's about,
It's about doing well by doing good.
doing well by doing good. I like that. And the paper actually highlights some really interesting examples
Oh, yeah?
of companies that are already doing this. Like take Telenor,
Mm-hmm.
this mobile operator in Pakistan.
Right.
They partnered up with a microfinance bank,
Mm-hmm.
and they launched this service called Easy Paisa,
Right.
which basically brought mobile financial services to like millions of people
Yeah, millions who were unbanked
who
before.
were unbanked.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But how did that actually help Telenor? Like, was this just a PR move,
Oh,
or was
yeah.
there a strategic advantage there?
It was brilliant. It was strategic. They saw this need, this social need for financial inclusion,
Mm-hmm.
and they tapped into this massive untapped market,
Yeah.
and they essentially became the go-to provider for a huge chunk of the population.
Yeah.
Really solidified their place in the market.
That's a great example
Yeah.
of how tackling a societal need can actually unlock all this business value.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's one
Yeah.
example. What about other industries? Is this just something for, telecom giants?
No, not at all.
Okay.
The paper shows this approach can work across different industries in different places. Let's look at Ajinomoto,
Okay.
this Japanese food and biotech company.
Good.
They're tackling aging-related diseases,
Okay.
which is a huge concern in Japan
Yeah.
by developing these personalized nutrition plans.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're merging their expertise in nutrition with
Right.
all this cutting-edge technology for
Right.
diagnostics and recommendations.
Wow. So they're basically building a whole new business model around this challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about tweaking existing products, right?
Exactly. They're not selling just food anymore.
Yeah.
They're selling personalized health solutions. And they're doing it by using their knowledge of nutrition and combining it with this new tech.
Okay. Last example. Indigo Ag,
Okay.
US-based agricultural tech company.
Mm-hmm.
They're all about getting farmers to adopt carbon sequestering practices
Right.
through this service they call Indigo Carbon.
This is a perfect example
Yeah.
of how a company can turn decarbonization into an advantage.
Yeah.
Farmers get paid for every ton of carbon they capture,
Mm.
while other companies offset their own emissions by buying these credits.
So three very different companies,
Mm-hmm.
but a common thread. They're not just mitigating harm, they're actually weaving solutions to these big challenges
Yeah.
directly into their business models.
Yeah.
But how do companies even start doing this? That's where this four-step innovation cycle comes in.
Right. And that first step, that expand the business canvas, that's crucial.
Okay. So it's like looking beyond your immediate operations and taking this wider view of the system.
Exactly. Think about a consumer packaged goods company. That's dealing with the plastic waste problem.
Right.
They need to map out all their stakeholders,
Okay.
consumers, policymakers, NGOs, waste collectors, everybody,
Everybody.
and really understand how they all connect.
I bet that gets complex pretty fast,
Oh, it can.
especially for companies with these massive global supply chains.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
You start by asking the right questions.
Okay.
Where do the materials for your packaging come from?
Yeah.
How are they extracted? How are they processed?
Mm-hmm.
What happens to the packaging after the consumer's done with it?
Right.
Are there good recycling systems in place? What are the rules around plastic waste?
So it's not just knowing who the players are. It's understanding
It's about the relationships.
how they all influence each other
Exactly.
and how the materials and resources flow.
Exactly. That's how you find those leverage points
Yeah.
where you can make the biggest impact. It's not just about shrinking your own footprint.
Right.
It's about changing the whole system.
And once you've got that map, you can start thinking about redesigning your business model.
Yeah.
That's step 2.
That's step 2. Innovate for a resilient business model.
And that's where we get to play with those 10 archetypes.
Those archetypes, think of them as building blocks
Right.
that you can use to create a sustainable and profitable model.
Okay. Give me some examples. I like getting specific.
Let's start with own the origins. Remember HP sourcing recycled plastic from Haiti for their products?
Yeah.
That's a great example
Mhm.
of how companies can actually change what they use to make their products and make a positive impact.
Right. So they're building sustainability right into the supply chain from the very beginning.
Right, from the beginning. What about own the whole cycle?
Okay.
Where you take responsibility for your product's entire life?
Yeah.
Like Ajinomoto.
Right.
They're not just making food, they're managing the whole cycle, from sourcing to consumption and beyond.
So it's like closing the loop.
Closing the loop.
Thinking about your product from cradle to grave.
Cradle to grave. What about
What are some other interesting archetypes?
expand societal value,
Mm-hmm.
which Telenor did with Easy Paisa,
Right.
or decarbonize for advantage,
Mm-hmm.
which companies like Interface are doing with their carbon negative tiles?
Wow.
But these are just a few examples. There are 10 in total.
Yeah.
And companies can mix and match them,
Right.
tailor them to their own situation.
So it's like a menu of options.
It is
And companies can create their own recipe for success
their own recipe.
by combining all these different approaches.
Exactly. That's what's great about this framework.
Mm-hmm.
It's a toolbox, not a prescription.
Okay. So we've mapped out the ecosystem. We've designed a new business model using these archetypes. What's next?
Step 3, link to drivers of value and competitive advantage. Now we got to make sure this new model isn't just a feel-good idea.
So it's got to be more than just sustainable.
Yeah.
It's got to be profitable too.
It's going to be profitable.
Okay.
You got to test it. You got to refine it. Make sure it delivers both social and financial returns.
Right.
Can it scale? Will it make us stand out? Will it actually make money?
So you're basically stress testing the model
Yeah, you're stress testing it
to make sure it can actually work in the real world.
in the real world.
Hey.
And the paper gives us a way to do this
Okay.
by outlining 9 attributes
Mhm.
of strong business models: scalability, differentiation, risk reduction, purpose alignment, stakeholder engagement, all of that.
It's pretty thorough.
It is.
But let's say our model passes the test
Okay.
with flying colors.
What's next?
What's the final step?
The final step is to scale it up.
Okay.
That's where you go from pilot project to full-blown operation.
Right.
You take that model and you expand its impact.
So it's about bringing everyone along on the journey.
Everyone, your employees, your suppliers, your partners, the whole ecosystem to make a bigger difference.
You got an example of a company that's really good at this scaling stage.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
BEMA.
Okay.
They're providing affordable insurance to millions.
In emerging markets.
Okay.
And they're using a digital platform,
Mm-hmm.
partnerships with telecoms, mobile money providers, insurance companies.
So they're using technology and collaboration to reach more people and maximize their impact.
Yeah.
This is really starting to paint a picture
Yeah,
of how SBMI can actually create positive change
absolutely.
while also driving business success.
Absolutely.
But let's break down each of these steps
Yeah, let's dive deeper
in more detail.
and really see how companies can use this framework.
I'm excited to dive in.
Me too.
Okay, so let's go back to that first step, expanding the business canvas. You talked about taking a broader view,
Mm-hmm.
but for a company that's just starting to think about SBMI, what are some practical first steps they can take to map out their ecosystem?
I think the most important thing is to be curious
Okay.
and be willing to question your assumptions.
Okay.
Start with the basics. Who are your main suppliers? Where do your raw materials come from?
How are your products made? How are they transported? What happens to them at the end of their life?
So it's almost like doing an audit
Yeah, that's like an audit.
of your whole value chain,
Your whole value chain.
looking for the good and the bad.
Exactly. And don't just focus on the environment.
Okay.
Think about the social side, too.
Right.
What are the working conditions like in your factories, in your suppliers' factories?
Mm-hmm.
How are your products affecting the communities where they're made and used?
I can see how that could be a real eye-opener for some companies.
It can be. And it's crucial to get input from different people.
Okay.
Talk to your employees, your customers, your suppliers,
Mm-hmm.
even your competitors.
Wow.
The more perspectives you have,
Yeah.
the better you'll understand the ecosystem.
Okay, so once you've mapped that out, you can start to see where you can make a difference.
Exactly.
Then it's on to step 2. Innovate for a resilient business model. And that's where we get to play with those 10 archetypes.
Those archetypes.
It's like a chef experimenting with different ingredients, right?
It is. You got to consider how each archetype tastes, how it feels,
Right.
how they all work together.
Yeah.
For example, a company might combine own the origins with expand societal value.
Okay.
So they're not just sourcing sustainable materials, but they're also creating jobs and empowering communities.
Right. Or they could blend own the whole cycle with decarbonize for advantage
Exactly.
to design a product that's both circular and carbon neutral.
Exactly. There are so many possibilities.
Yeah.
The key is to find the combination
Yeah.
that fits your company's strengths and the specific challenges and opportunities you found in your ecosystem.
I'm sensing a theme here. It seems like SBMI is all about breaking down those silos
Yes.
and thinking holistically about how business can create value for everyone, not just shareholders.
Absolutely. It's about moving beyond just making a profit
Right.
and embracing a broader idea of success,
Yeah.
one that includes social and environmental performance.
Okay, so we've mapped the ecosystem, we've found some opportunities, we've designed a great business model using these archetypes. What's next?
Step 3, link to drivers of value and competitive advantage. This is where we get down to business.
So it's time to really put our business model to the test.
Let's do the test.
Make sure it can deliver on both sustainability and profitability.
Exactly. Remember those 9 attributes of robust business models? Scalability, differentiation, risk reduction, purpose alignment, stakeholder engagement, all of that.
Right.
Now we evaluate our model against those criteria to
Right.
make sure it's not just a good idea, but a viable business proposition.
Can you walk me through an example
Sure.
of how a company might use these attributes?
Let's go back to that CPG company trying to solve its plastic problem.
Okay.
They've come up with a new business model based on reusable packaging. They need to ask themselves, can this model scale up to handle the amount of product we sell? Does it make us stand out from the competition? Does it protect us from changes in the price of virgin plastic?
Right.
Does it align with our company's purpose and values?
And they need to think about how they'll get everyone on board, right?
Yes.
Like how to get consumers to use the new system, how to work with retailers to implement it,
Exactly.
how to make sure the packaging is actually collected and reused.
Exactly. It's about thinking through all the potential obstacles and making sure your model is strong enough to overcome them.
Right.
And remember, this is an ongoing process.
Okay.
You might need to adjust your model a few times
Yeah.
before you find that sweet spot where sustainability and profitability really come together.
I appreciate you saying that this isn't a straight line. It sounds like there's a lot of experimenting and adapting involved.
There is.
But let's say we've done all that testing and our model has proven itself.
Okay.
What's the final step?
The final step is to scale the initiative. This is where we move from design and testing to actually putting it into action and making it bigger.
So it's time to take our SBMI baby out into the world
Yeah.
and watch it grow.
And watch it grow. And this is where collaboration is so important.
Okay.
No company can solve these big global challenges alone.
Right.
You need partners, you need to work with policymakers, you need to use the power of networks and ecosystems to create real change.
Can you give me an example of a company that's doing this well?
Absolutely. Let's look at Patagonia.
Okay.
They've been leaders in sustainable business practices for a long time,
Yeah.
using recycled materials, supporting fair labor practices, but they've also been really good at getting their customers involved in their mission.
Right. Like their Don't Buy This Jacket campaign.
Exactly.
They're encouraging people to think before they buy new clothes.
Yeah, they've turned their customers into advocates for sustainable consumption.
Wow.
And they've gone beyond their own operations. They support environmental organizations. They push for policy changes.
Right.
They understand that real sustainability requires everyone to work together.
It's inspiring to see companies like Patagonia showing that business can be a force for good.
Yeah, it is.
But are there any potential pitfalls
Oh, there are.
that companies should watch out for
Definitely.
as they start their SBMI journeys? What are some common mistakes?
One big mistake is treating sustainability as something separate.
Okay.
Like it's not part of the core business.
Right.
SBMI is not about adding a layer of sustainability on top. It's about making it part of your business's DNA.
So it's not about creating a sustainability department and calling it a day.
Yeah.
It's about weaving sustainability into everything you do.
Everything you do, your operations, your strategy, your culture.
Right.
Another mistake is focusing too much on just being more efficient.
Okay.
While it's good to reduce your environmental impact.
Yeah.
True SBMI is about more than just small improvements.
Oh.
It's about rethinking your entire business model to create positive social and environmental impact and find new sources of value and competitive advantage.
So it's about seeing sustainability as an opportunity for innovation and growth.
Exactly. And finally, I'd say companies need to be genuine and transparent in their SBMI efforts.
Right.
Consumers are smart. They can see through greenwashing.
So don't just talk the talk.
Walk the walk.
Walk the walk.
Be honest about your challenges, your progress, your goals.
Mm.
Be ready to have open and honest conversations with your stakeholders.
This has been a really insightful look at the 4 steps for creating sustainable and impactful business models.
It has. It's been great to explore these ideas with you.
Yeah.
And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to see what's possible with SBMI.
I think they are. And to our listener, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What challenges and opportunities do you see for SBMI in your industry? What steps are you taking to make your business model more sustainable?
Remember, the journey towards a more sustainable future starts with each of us. By using the principles of SBMI, we can create businesses that aren't just profitable,
Right.
but that also make the world a better place, a healthier place, a fairer place, a stronger place.
That's a great point. And speaking of the future, I'm curious about some of the trends that are shaping the SBMI landscape.
Oh, yeah. There are some really exciting things happening.
Like what?
From the circular economy to the rise of purpose-driven brands.
Let's dive into those trends. All right, so let's talk about those cutting-edge trends. What's really got your attention in the SBMI world lately?
One of the most exciting things is the circular economy. It's gaining a lot of momentum. Businesses are looking for ways to grow without using up all the resources.
Yeah, I keep hearing about the circular economy, but I'm still trying to picture what it actually looks like, in the real world.
Okay, so imagine a world where we don't see waste as waste anymore. It becomes a valuable resource. Instead of that old way of doing things, dispose. The circular economy tries to keep materials in use for as long as possible. You get the most value out of them at every stage.
So it's like closing the loop, turning what we used to throw away into the ingredients for new stuff. What are some companies actually doing this?
Oh, there are some amazing examples. Like in fashion, you've got companies like Eileen Fisher and Patagonia. They have these take-back programs. Customers can return their old clothes to be recycled or repurposed.
That's smart. Keeps clothes out of landfills, and those valuable materials can be used again. What about other industries?
In tech, there's Fairphone. They design these modular smartphones that are easy to fix and upgrade, so they last longer and there's less electronic waste.
Interesting.
And for packaging, there's Loop. They're creating these reusable packaging systems. No more single-use plastic, and it's a closed loop for deliveries.
These are really cool examples. It seems like the circular economy isn't just about being less harmful to the environment. It's also about creating new opportunities and coming up with new ideas.
Exactly. The circular economy could unlock so much economic value while also creating a more sustainable and resilient future.
And it fits right in with what consumers want these days. People care about sustainability. They're choosing to support businesses that are doing good for the planet and society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that leads us to another big trend: purpose-driven brands. Consumers, especially younger generations, aren't just looking for products anymore. They want brands that share their values and that are trying to make a positive impact.
So it's not just about what you sell,
It's about what you stand for.
what you stand for. I like that.
Purpose-driven brands are all about the positive change they want to create, and they use that purpose to guide everything they do, their decisions, their innovations, how they interact with everyone.
Any examples of brands that are doing this well?
Patagonia is a great one.
Yeah.
Their mission is, we're in business to save our home planet. And you can see that in everything they do, from their products to their activism.
Right. They're not just selling outdoor gear. They're selling a vision for a better future.
What about other examples? Unilever's another one. They've been really clear about their commitment to sustainability. They've set big goals for reducing their environmental impact and promoting social inclusion. And they're working hard to involve their customers in that journey.
It's great to see these big companies stepping up and taking on that role of being change makers. It really seems like purpose isn't just a nice thing to have anymore. It's essential for business success.
Absolutely. Purpose attracts talent. It builds trust with customers, and it creates the shared sense of mission within a company. It's a powerful driver for innovation and growth.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. We've talked about so much from that four-step framework for SBMI to these amazing trends that are shaping the future of sustainable business.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you. I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to really embrace what's possible with SBMI.
I'm sure they are. And to our listeners, we'd love to hear from you. What are some of the challenges and opportunities you see for SBMI in your own industry? What are you doing to make your business model more sustainable?
Remember, creating a more sustainable future starts with each of us. If we all use the principles of SBMI, we can create businesses that are not just profitable, but also help build a healthier, more equitable, and more resilient world.
That's a perfect way to wrap things up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of sustainable business model innovation. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep innovating for a better future.